Hello, my name's Clay Howell, and I'm going to show you some of the features of Qubit, the second mobile game that I made. So let's jump right into it. In Qubit, there are two different modes in which you can play, arcade mode and puzzle mode. I started off making the game with just an arcade mode and decided that I wanted to add in a little bit of storyline. Then after I did that, I realized that a lot of the situations that I got into in arcade mode would make some cool puzzles, and I enjoy puzzle games in general, so I thought I might as well add on a puzzle mode. I'm going to hop into arcade mode, talk about it, and talk about the story and the full detail of the game, and then I'm going to hop into puzzles, and then I'm going to finish it off with some of the things that I learned while making this game. So whenever you enter arcade mode, you're given a story about yourself, the garbage collector. This is something I added in. It's not imperative to the gameplay, but it was something fun to add on top of it. I'm going to just kind of skip through it right now, so don't. But if you'd like to know more about the story, you can actually just play the game. It's a fairly simple story about yourself as a garbage collector. I did a lot of puns in the game about when it comes to programming, so you're like a garbage collector, and garbage collection cleans up bits and stuff. So the game itself is about trying to stay alive on a giant platform like this, and each time you roll, so I'll move here in a second, but whenever you click to move, you'll roll around and destroy tiles, just like this. Each time you destroy a tile, you get a bit, and you see those bits in the top right corner building up. The goal of the game is to try to stay alive as long as possible, and as you can deduce, you will eventually die because you'll run out of little spaces. So where you roll impacts where you can move in the future. And right now I've trapped myself in a little corner and I'll fall off. In order to get the most points possible, you try to maximize the space around which you can roll, so you try to keep very tight turns and corners so that you have the most space possible. Each time you go into the arcade mode again, or each time you trigger an event, it'll show you another part of the storyline. Again, I'm just going to skip past it right now and kind of show a little bit more of the mechanics here in the arcade mode. Now right now the gameplay is very simple. There's not a lot that you do, or there's not a lot of interaction that you have with you until you start getting more points. So as I start building up points here, oops, I accidentally fell off, but as I start building up points, those points that I get at the end, those total points are saved up and added to my total points, and then with those points I can buy upgrades, which allow me to survive longer, but by purchasing upgrades, you progress the story, and as the story progresses, you get more adversaries in this arcade mode. So, as you see here, there are these floating yellow, I guess, pieces of geometry, which are called qubits, and so you can collect those to get extra points, and in the storyline it talks to you more about what these bits are and what's going on. I'll take a little moment here on the end. It tells you how you died whenever you lose. It shows you what your score was. It adds those to your total bits, and also lets you know what your highest score is. So in this instance, 101 was the highest score that I've gotten so far, so it set it as my score, and it told me that that is currently my highest score. Cool. I'm going to play one or two more times, and then I'm going to move over to the upgrade zone. The reason why I need to play one or two more times is so that way I make sure that I get enough bits so I can purchase an upgrade and show you what that's like. This shouldn't take too long. I think after this run right here, I'll be able to purchase the first upgrade. I believe the first upgrade is at 250 points, and I ended at 180. So I should be good. I'm just gonna fall off. Okay, cool. So now I have 270 points, and it's showing me right here, hey, you have one purchasable upgrade. So you can click on there. It takes me to another screen. This is sort of a hub world for where all my upgrades are. So right here it shows a big arrow towards wherever the first upgrade is, and as you can like move around this space, there are a lot of different little pads that you can step onto, and it shows you a list of upgrades that you can buy from that area. So for instance, if I went here, this is the first place where I can take an upgrade. The upgrade for this one is called Baguette. It makes an item spawn in arcade mode, which increases your size, and there are some pads that are not unlocked yet and you cannot get to until you again progress farther in the story. So I'm going to go ahead and purchase this upgrade right here with the bits that I have, and then I'll show you what that looks like. So I go back into the game, everything looks fairly the same, but after a couple seconds I'll start seeing my Baguette upgrade come along. And so the intent for the game was to make sort of like a simple core gameplay, which is just you moving and rolling around, and then keep adding interesting twists and upgrades as you go along. So now see, I've turned into this long cube-like shape, which I call Baguette, and each time I pick up one of those Baguette upgrades, I turn into the large Baguette shape. So that's about it that I have to show for arcade mode. Again, there are like 15 or 16 different upgrades that you can buy that all multiply together to increase your survivability. There's an upgrade that makes the number of times you can touch a tile increase, so that way you survive longer, getting you more points. But also, as I said before, as you go through the game and collect upgrades, you then start introducing new adversaries. There's enemies that start rolling around and try hitting you, and there's bombs that fall down and explode. So, okay, so now I'm going to go back and go over to the puzzle mode. As you progress through the game and unlock upgrades, you will unlock sets of puzzles. Now, I decided that if a person was going through the game, the goal of the game being getting all the upgrades and progressing through the whole story, collecting bits may be a bit tedious at some times, so if they wanted to change it up, they could then go to the puzzle mode, and the puzzle mode also rewards bits for completing the puzzles. So that way the player has two different options. Or, for instance, if the player only wanted to play the puzzles and they kept playing puzzles and eventually they kind of got tired of the puzzles, then they could switch over to the arcade mode and sort of like change it up. The gameplay was intended for someone to just sit down, pick it up, and play with the arcade mode, and if people played for longer periods of time, they'd be able to play either one. Or people could just stay with whichever one that they enjoyed more. So as you come into here, this is again a little piece, a little blurb of story just talking about what this place is. I'm going to go ahead and skip it. And each time you buy an upgrade, you unlock a new area. And as you progress through the story and get more upgrades, you will unlock new sets of puzzles and new places. The first place that you get is the first set of tiles puzzles, and I'll hop into here and show you what those look like. So the goal of the puzzle areas is to clear out all the tiles before falling off. So if I were to just roll forward and then not do anything else, I would fall off and it'd say, "You've fallen, would you like to try the puzzle again?" The second time I go through, I'm going to go ahead and complete it correctly. And then when I finish, it gives you this nice little wave animation that says, "Congratulations, completed it," and we can go to the next puzzle. So as you can see here, the point of the puzzles is for the player to think about where they're rolling to make sure that they go through the entire puzzle and hit all the squares. And this was a easy extension of the arcade mode game that I made because I already had all the functionality, and I thought, why not? You know, what this couldn't possibly make the game less fun. You might as well add in more features. Well, what I didn't realize actually, and this is one of the things that I learned while making this game, is that I kind of got stretched thin. I was making a lot of things for the arcade mode, and then I was trying to come up with a story for the game, and then I was trying to do these puzzles for the game, and this whole entire game and gameplay and programming was all done by me. And when I started adding in all these new features, it was a lot of breadth of gameplay, but it was just so much and so many different things that it probably would have been better if I kept my game focused and instead just either did only puzzles or only arcade. Whenever the so that was something I noticed, and something that I remember now for my future games. I kind of prioritize doing quality over quantity because although I am very proud for how this game completed, I think that it might have been more successful if I had only focused on like arcade, for instance, and really polished the graphics and the interactions, and maybe even created more upgrades for the player to have. Anytime the player finishes a set of puzzles, as you see here, they're rewarded with bits that come spilling out of your body, which is 500 bits, and you can go and use those bits again in the upgrade area and continue to progress through the game. So that is a brief overview of Qubit, and my name is Howell, and thank you for watching.